All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the 11th iteration of our IFC podcast. Today we are joined by two fantastic special guests. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, Walker Jones, the executive director of the Grove Collective and former student athlete here at Ole Miss.
I'm Holder Jones. I'm a junior from Madison, Mississippi, and I'm a junior at Ole Miss.
For those of you who don't know, Holder is actually the nephew of Mr. Walker Jones right here.
That's right.
So your dad's brother, right? Correct?
Yeah, his dad is my younger brother.
Both natives of Jackson, Mississippi, went to Jackson Academy. I know a lot of you guys, fraternity guys at Ole Miss especially, went to JA, Prep, MRA, some of those surrounding schools. So got some cool hometown natives here today, and we're excited to get this kicked off. First off, for the listeners who might not know you two personally, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got to Ole Miss and kind of what you do here now. I know you talked about your job with the Grove Collective a little bit and some other things, but if you could just touch into your legacy back at Ole Miss and how you ended up going there as opposed to some other schools.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get recruited to come play football here. It was a childhood dream of mine. My father had played here in the Archie Manning years for those great Johnny Vault teams, and my mother was a cheerleader here. So I didn't really know any other way. I remember the Grove when you could drive your car into the Grove back in the day when I was a young kid and grew up coming up here to games and was sitting in the stadium when Chucky Mullins broke his neck and remember that vividly in 1989. And so it was always a childhood dream of mine to play football here, and I was lucky enough to get recruited by some other schools. But once Coach Brewer offered me a scholarship here my junior year, I was done. I was coming to Ole Miss and was able to have a good career playing here and graduate with a degree and win a lot of games and have wonderful relationships. And it's continues to give back to me. It's kind of what led me back here at Ole Miss in this current position.
I love it. So your grandfather played football at Ole Miss. There's a long history out here, I guess.
That's right. That's right. Holder was a football player for a little while.
Yeah. Holder, you should have been the legacy, man.
I played basketball and
yeah, he specialized in hoops. Yeah.
Holder, if you don't tell me a little bit about, I'm sure you were, breathing Ole Miss since you were a little child too.
I didn't have any other options to go to school. I think I only applied to here, so it made my college process pretty easy. Been here, I guess, 3 years now, and I love it every single day. It's just fun waking up on Saturdays and going to the game and just walking around campus during the middle of the week, and going to any sporting events or just going around Oxford. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Both my parents went here. My grandfather went to law school here, and Holder and I actually went to high school together. So big Rebel fans from day one. So I'd love to see that. We're continuing on our family's legacies. I guess there's no other option. You go to state or some other SEC school, scholarships are getting pulled and all the funding. So.
That's right.
So Holder, I'm sure you can attest to this, but we'll skip that question. For Mr. Walker, from your perspective, how has the Ole Miss student experience changed since you were here? I know you mentioned tailgating with cars was a thing back then. Obviously, that's changed a lot, but from the time you were here between 96 to 99, whatever, how has it changed as a student?
Well, it was much smaller back then from a class size. I think our freshman class was, maybe 1,000 or, 1,500 people, and undergrad was around, 13, 14,000, and now it's 25 or something, and freshman classes are now 6,000, 7,000. So it's probably quadrupled in size, from a freshman class when I came in. So the size has certainly changed. In some ways, I think that Ole Miss has only gotten better with time. Back when I was in school here, I thought it was the greatest place on the earth, and it was at that time. It was awesome, and but you've even seen now the university really take even more strides to increase enrollment, increase the student experience here. Mm-hmm. I think academically they've done a great job with the Honors College, and I've got a daughter who's a freshman at the Honors College. Holder's sister is in the Honors College, Sims. So, I just think, academically, holistically, academically, athletically, socially, Ole Miss has continued to just refine itself and get better and better. And, we were away. We lived in Baltimore for 12 years when I was working for Under Armour, and we didn't get to come back as much, and we weren't as connected to the school as I had been right when I got out of school and as I am now. And I think the perspective when we came back and moved back to the South and started reattaching ourselves to Ole Miss really made an impact on me and how much the school had grown and developed and refined itself. And, now it's just thrilling to be able to walk across campus now or go to a game and just see the student experience what it is today. And, when we lived in Baltimore, people kind of knew what Ole Miss was. They had heard of Ole Miss and Eli Manning and, things like that. But now I think it's an international brand now. I think people are fascinated by Ole Miss, and anywhere I travel and go, when they say, "Where'd you go to school?" I said, "Ole Miss." Their eyes light up. Oh, I've got a nephew there, a niece there. Tell me about the Grove, and is the speed limit really 18 miles an hour, and all those things. So it's certainly the reputation of our school has definitely continued to grow in a very positive.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Guys in the school.
Yeah.
Oh, my son.
Yeah, it really is, and like we would be in Baltimore, and applications, you'd hear one or two kids every now and then would be applying to Ole Miss and ask our opinion. And the last couple of years we were living up there, it was 20, 30, 40 kids. Hey, I'm applying to Ole Miss. Hey, we're taking a visit down there. We're going to a game, and it's like there's something magical in the mystique of Ole Miss and Oxford and the town and gown relationship that people have now heard about, and then they'll come down here and visit, and they'll just instantly fall in love with the place. So so people from the Ivy League or from the Northeast or the Midwest or the West Coast, it's a conversation starter now. It used to be probably a punchline, and now it's like, tell me about the Grove, tell me about Ole Miss, tell me about the city of Oxford. So it's pretty cool.
The image and brand of Oxford is here now more than ever, I'd argue, and you made some fantastic points to back that up there. So I just want to know, for both of you guys, what does this campus energy feel like for students and new members, especially with regards to athletics? I feel like a large influx of our applicants is because of our football program and basketball program going so well. So what are your thoughts on that, Holder?
I think it's a big impact. I mean, we're top 3 all around athletic department right now with baseball, basketball, and football. I mean, people like to watch good sports, and it obviously drives Greek life in the way it is. And I will say, just showing up on Saturdays it just shows itself here in the colors. But I will agree, I think athletics is the driving force of people coming here and just ultimately making a decision. Just if you're like a brand, if the brand's good on TV, it makes people want to come and join it.
Yeah, people sleeping outside of stadiums and get into the Grove at 6 a.m. in the morning. So
it's we talk about the Chancellor. Glenn Boyce has done a phenomenal job. I mean, recognizing that athletics is really the front porch of the school, and if the town wants to continue to thrive, and enrollment wants to continue to stay strong, there's probably no bigger instigator of that than a successful athletic program,
right.
And just the impact that it makes in the community and to the pride and the fan base, and again, it's like people ask why do you do what we do, and obviously we're competitive, we want to win championships, but we also know the impact that it makes on the university that we all know and love, and so attracting top-notch talent to come here. To not only win games and make us relevant and competitive, but also add a piece to the student experience here. And we'll go recruit kids that never been to the South or never been to Mississippi or never been in the SEC, and they'll come here and they'll hear for a year and they're like, I'm going to move back here when I retire or whatever. They find the attachment there. So it's definitely athletics is a key indicator of strong enrollment.
Yeah, and that all goes back to people like Keith Carter and Chancellor Boyce. I've had the privilege to meet both of those men, fantastic role models and representatives for our university as well as you. I know I just met you, but I know all the behind-the-scenes work you do for our NIL and collective and everything, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But before that, I kind of want to scope into our fraternity life and our IFC culture here at Ole Miss. This is our Ole Miss IFC podcast, so we got to delve into those questions a little bit. And both of you guys have Greek life involvement. I was informed earlier that Mr. Walker, you are a Phi Delt alumni at this university. So what roles do you think fraternities play in shaping the Ole Miss experience, whether that's with athletics or even outside of that?
I think it's I was fortunate enough to give one of the talks during Rush last year at the Phi Delt House, and was talking about the impact it had. And obviously I value my playing career and being a teammate and a team captain for Ole Miss in football, and those were all wonderful. But the brotherhood off the field that I was able to be a part of with my involvement with Greek life here was through Phi Delt and through just everything that the fraternity society, the fraternity culture here and environment that it creates, and the sense of society, the sense of belonging, the sense of brotherhood that fraternity brings. That kind of filled a void for me as a student athlete because we were so busy in athletics, we didn't have as much time to get out and meet people and those types of things. So my fraternity experience, gave me a lifeline and an interaction with students that I never would have gotten to have. And I think it's probably just the way on the flip side, no matter what group you're with or what fraternity or sorority with, you end up interacting with so many more. And there's the pride of being in your house, which you should have pride in your house. But, there's also the interaction with other houses on campus and what is unique to them. And everybody has their own uniqueness. And, Phi Delt was great for us. And it was awesome to, pin holder and watch him go through. And his dad was a Phi Delt with us. And our first cousin was a Phi Delt there. And my dad was a Phi Delt here. And so, but again, it wasn't just about Phi Delt. It was just the opportunity for brotherhood and what it does. And now having a daughter here as a Tri Delt, she's getting that experience on the sorority side. And, I just think it's really cool because, again, I think that's what life's going to be about. Life's going to be about, finding common purpose with people that you otherwise didn't grow up with or have anything in common. And now you're committed to a common purpose and a common group and a common set of beliefs and ideals. And that's what the rest of life is going to require. So I think it's a great teacher.
Yeah, and it's also not the most unpopular thing for athletes to join these fraternities. We've had Matt Corral and Kappa Sig, I believe. The Manning family. The Mannings were all seniors here at Ole Miss. Right. We have athletes. Two of our KA athletes playing football. Shout out to Joe Corey and Fort Beaker. And
Joe Corey.
Yeah,
our boy. Joe's he's like a folk hero. Man.
Yeah, he is.
I got two in my pledge class.
Yeah.
Who do you have in your? Who's in?
Wyatt Smalley and Dylan Davis.
That's right.
I love it. Yeah. Wasn't Jaron Ely in a fraternity?
He was Sigma Nu.
Yeah, honorary Sigma Nu. Yeah. So
it was.
It's not the most unpopular thing. I love to see that you can touch on that story as well, and it's still, the tradition is still going on.
Well, and to be honest, in full disclosure, when I got here as a freshman, back then, that you can't do it now, they probably throw you in jail. But there was quite a bit of hazing going on the football side.
Oh, good.
And one of the things they did, they shaved our head. And so they shaved us completely bald. And so can you imagine as a freshman, you're trying to get a date with any girl on campus when you look like an idiot because your head is shaved when it shouldn't be shaved. Some people can wear a bald head. I can't. So the fraternity gave me the ability to actually try to meet girls or get a date to something or meet other people when I look like an alien with my head shaved. So it was a good icebreaker for freshmen. And I think it does help, especially for students that are from out of state or from far that don't know a ton of kids when they come here. Mm-hmm. It's hard to meet people right away, and especially now with as many online classes as there are. Yeah. That's the other thing. You asked what's different. There were no online classes when I was in school. You walked.
Got to go to lecture.
you had to go to lecture. You had to put a backpack on, rain, snow, or shine. You had to go walk across campus. So you walked to every class. There were no online classes.
Athletes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And so, So again, now with all the online classes, you're not meeting as many people in classrooms because there's not as many settings as there was. So the fraternity or sorority gives you the ability, especially if you're from out of state, to meet and kind of find your group.
Yeah. That's something truly special about Greek life is just the connection and the different social groups you can build, not only from people from your hometown, but you'll meet people all across the nation who you could travel to away games with as a road rep or stay with and all that stuff. It's special, and it's something you don't really find outside of Greek life too much in different schools. Anything else different about fraternity life when you were here? I know my dad was a Pike back in the day. There used to be he said there could be
what years was your dad here?
My dad was here from, I think it was 88 to 92, around that era.
So right before me.
My mom was a Kyo here a little bit after that. But he said they could have kegs in their front yard all weekend and stuff like that. So some rules have definitely changed.
Oh, yeah. Well, every party we had was at the house, and so you would have the band in the house and you would have keg parties and swaps were on campus. And, every now and then you'd go to the gin or Forrester's or, somewhere like that. Those places are gone now. So a lot of your social interaction was at the house.
Wow.
And after games, we would play a game and we would go to the house and we'd walk the halls and all the rooms would be open. and
Walking
music
from Vaughn
playing.
Hemingway to the straight to
Yeah,
house
we
for the
walk
first
right
game.
over to the Five House, or we go to the Simicai. If the Simicais had a great band, or the Pikes, or the SAEs, or whoever had the best bands, and you go walk the halls, and all the rooms would be open, and so that was certainly a lot different, and then now than how it is today, and a lot of the bars and restaurants we went to now are back then are not here anymore. There's more options now.
Where was Forster's in the gin?
Forster's is where the Forster's is right down on Jackson Avenue, where that kind of high-rise apartment building is, right across from the courtyard by Marriott.
Yes.
So if you walk out of the courtyard and walk across the street, there's a package store right there, and then there's that office building kind of apartment complex.
Yeah.
That's where Forster's was.
Oh, wow.
And then the library was the old Lafayette's, which got shut down when they hosted Two Live Crew, and they got naked on stage, and the owners got arrested. And so my buddy John Dessler, who was my roommate, played football with me, said, "Hey, I'm going to buy old Lafayette's."
Mr. Dessler, he played football back
He played
then
football.
too?
He was one of our really good players. John was a good player.
Wow.
And John and I were really, really good buddies. And he was like, "Hey, my dad gave me a little extra money from some deal he had done, and wanted me to start a business. So I'm going to go buy Lafayette's and turn it into the library." And
Wow,
we were
what a
like,
story.
we were like, "That's a great idea. We'll bartender for you." And we had no idea how to be a bartender, and we probably gave away more drinks than we charged. If you were a fairly attractive female, you did not pay for a drink when we were bartending there.
And then my dad bartended.
Yeah, and so so my younger brother Adam, his dad was a bartender there for forever. When the library was literally just
sports. It was just a sports bar, right?
well, it was just in the middle part now.
Yeah.
There was no sports bar. It was a pool hall. And so and that's how I got to Under Armour. Was John's best friend is Kevin Plank, who's the founder CEO of Under Armour. And then that's how I got to Under Armour and was there for 12 years. So, so anyway, so like all that, the gin was the big spot to go to. It burned down. And then the Phi Delt house, we actually burned the house down when I was here, my junior year.
I think I heard about that. Wow.
Yeah, mysteriously. It burned to the ground. So the last 2 years, I didn't have a house. We had the
It was the old KA house.
the old KA house, because they got kicked off campus for hazing or something.
Nice,
and so we took their house over for my last 2 years.
Wow, a ghost must have got the fight out.
Yeah, we don't know what exactly happened. Sparky Reardon. I thought it would be a bigger part of Sparky's book, but Sparky steered clear to that a little bit. But Sparky's our guy, man. Yeah, he was like,
Old dean of school, right?
he's like, "Y'all burned the house down, didn't y'all?" We were like, "I don't know."
Wasn't it after Christmas formal?
Yeah, it was right after. Yeah, no. It was during the summer. And we were all actually at the gym, because we had to be up here for workouts, and we were at the gym having a big night, and somebody comes running in and says, "Hey, y'all's house is on fire." And I thought they meant our apartment. And I was like, "Our apartment's on fire?" They're like, "No, the Phi Delt house is on fire." We're like, "It'll be fine." Yeah.
It's conveniently in the
Burn.
summer when everyone moved out.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody was living there. Yeah, conveniently caught on fire in the middle of the summer. So
That was a legendary story. Wow.
yeah, and then now they're building a new house for Holder and the guys. So
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned you went to Simicai parties back in the day too. Did you know Stan Toller?
Stan Toller, real
Street Toller is one of our good friends.
Yeah,
His
so
son,
so Stanton was 3 years ahead of me in high school, but I actually, when I was a freshman and he was a senior, I actually played against Stanton in high school. He went to prep. I was a JA. And then Stanton was a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, I bet.
Phenomenal.
High jump.
Oh,
football,
he was a great
basketball.
basketball player. Stanton could have been a great football player. He was just a ridiculous athlete
Yeah.
and a super nice of a guy. And so, so I knew Stan. He was a little ahead of me, but knew Stan well, and obviously got to get no street through Holder. And that's what's cool now is like you get to be our age, like the y'all's friends, their parents were in school with us.
Yeah.
And so like my daughter here is a freshman. She's meeting all these people that like, "Hey, I ran into so-and-so. They said her dad went to high school with you." And I'm like, yeah, we're at that age now. So.
Well, my mom went to prep too. She was a year or two older than Stan. Her name was, I guess, Gail McKay was her maiden name. Gail McKay Waters. So I'm sure that I can, I'll ask her about you after this. She probably knows.
Yeah, I'm sure we probably lived close to each other, or we knew a lot of people at prep. And
Yeah. That's awesome. Sure. Well, Holder, you've had a front row seat this year's Phi Delt's head rush chair, so I want you to tell me about your favorite part or your most rewarding part about being a rush chair here at Ole Miss.
The rewarding part was, I guess, this time last year, like you get picked, obviously, but it's the process, and I really enjoyed just going back to last fall, like meeting the freshmen now and then, and now getting to know the people who are in your pledge class, and just going through with the whole process. Like, it starts in the winter and spring rush, and summer you're up here every day, and just the past year or two, it's been really fun just going out and seeing how rush works.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you did many tabling events and had a lot of fun, nice orientation.
I've never
taking
seen
people
a
out.
busier rush chairman in my life this past summer. I could never get him on the phone. And it was best was he was like, "Yeah, I got to take these kids out." He's calling them kids. I'm like, they're just 2 years younger than me.
Yeah, I'm a little guilty of that as well.
Holder bought into the rush chairman role really seriously, and I think he did a great job. But yeah, I was like, every weekend, I'm like, "Where's Holder?" Like, "Oh, he's deep sea fishing in the Gulf with a bunch of rushies."
That was
Yeah,
that was
bunch
a favorite.
of kids.
Bunch of kids.
That was the favorite trip, if I had to say. We went red fishing in South Louisiana.
Oh
so,
man, that's like a dream of mine.
and
yeah.
you graciously got us 2 houses, and we got up and fished all day. Then we grilled the fish and stayed up probably way too late. But
Tough work. Were you a rush chairman too?
I was not. I wasn't allowed
He's
to be
been doing
involved with
this.
the rush stuff. Just give my IFC.
Oh, because
positions
of this,
out.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind
nice.
of conflict, but it does sound fun. It interests me. But what was the hardest part of the recruitment process? Whether that was recruitment week or some
Probably-
hard decisions.
not really hard decisions. Just recruitment week, it just gets to be a lot, and
It's
you're
hard.
in there every day. And I know just keeping the actives involved, but you get through it, and it's just 5 days of just you're there from
It's a grind.
you're
Yeah.
from there for 8 to 5. But it's kind of like you're working a job that week, because you got to talk to all these kids or rushies, and there it is. But they made the process fun, and going through it, meeting people you probably would never meet, just
Yeah.
them being involved in rush and Greek life. But it opens up a lot of pathways.
I got a question for both of you guys. So how many students go through rush, and how many don't get a bid?
Yeah. So for the past 3 years, we've actually had the largest fraternity
1,500,
formal recruitment in the nation. The past 3 years, the average has been around like 1,545. We've had upwards of 1,600. This year was a little bit lower because of the housing crisis. Yeah, and just lower, admissions with the housing crisis. It was 1,455. But on average, the median's around 1,500, which is bigger than Bama's formal recruitment, all these other schools' formal recruitment.
crazy.
So it's insane. Greek life makes up 48% of our body. And to answer your question on retention rate, not this year, but the year before, it was a little bit lower, around like 72. But this year, I think it was right at 87%. So given the amount of
So
guys who go
87% of the 1,500 get a bid.
get a bid to fraternity.
Wow.
So it's actually, for such a competitive school, it was really, really high this year. We're
I
glad to
wouldn't
see.
have guessed that. I didn't.
Yeah.
How many
It's
total
really-
fraternities are on campus?
16. 16 chapters, 15 have houses on campus, one doesn't. Or technically owns the house, but they don't live in it. They're planning to move into it. Kai-Sai would say
Sounds
more
like old
numbers.
school.
Yeah.
Sounds like Vince Vaughn and old school.
I
Huh?
don't know.
It sounds
I
like
hotel. I don't do anything else the rest of the night.
Yeah. You just need a dean, like
Yeah,
what was his name? Dean.
He plays Ari Golden Entourage.
Yeah, that's right.
He does.
Jerry Piven. Yeah, he was a great bad dean.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah.
Was the process formal back in the day, or was it just kind of you sign up and get a bid, or how was it?
Yeah, I don't. So like, it was different for me as a student athlete, like because we didn't really we couldn't go through rush because we were in the middle of 2-a-days and fall camp.
Yeah.
So we didn't walk the houses or do any of that stuff, and so we pledged, but we didn't. We had some special exemptions where we didn't have to go through and do all that, and
Same way this year.
yeah, we still had to go through like initiation and all that stuff, but like it was different because we just our time was so hard, to find time to do all that stuff. But I remember my friends going through it, and it was. I don't even know what the numbers were back then. It was a stressful time for my friends. I remember because we had like my buddies from Jackson. We had buddies at Prep and JA, and like it was like my freshman year, all the JA guys that I were friends with ended up like pledging with all the Prep guys.
Yeah.
And it was kind of neat to see that. But yeah, it was. I don't know what the retention rate was back then, but 87%. That's really high.
It's impressive, yeah.
Yeah. Is it same on the sorority side or is it lower?
I don't know the sororities numbers, to be honest. I would imagine they take a lot of people.
Yeah,
So I'd imagine it's probably around the same.
They have less houses, but I mean those pledge
But
classes.
like Lily's Tridell plays was 185
doubles,
girls.
Exactly,
doubles
so-
the guys basically.
Yeah, most of them it doubles. Sometimes
Yeah, that's a senior class, high school class.
it's so amazing.
There's no way they know each other. It's like my
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic. Yeah, it's hard to know everyone in a 180 person pledge class. I mean, I guess this is our last fraternity question. How did lessons from football and Greek life translate into leadership later in your career, Mr. Walker?
Look, I think it was you have to learn, how to interact and communicate with people that you otherwise, wouldn't relate to or have any experience with, or pick to be a friend, or in your kind of sphere of influence. So that's to me life. Especially in the workforce, and even in being a father and a husband and starting a family, you have to kind of understand that and have great self-awareness that whatever you want is just a small part of what is influencing everybody around you. And so again, going into a pledge class of a bunch of people that I think I think back to my pledge class. I knew very few of them, maybe 10 or 12 of them that I grew up with or grew up in Jackson with me, and also too walking into a college football locker room where there's seniors that I used to watch when I was in middle school play for Ole Miss, and now you're a teammate with those guys that are 4 years older than you, and we're kind of like your hero growing up, or guys you want to be like. And so again, whether it's the locker room or whether it's walking into a fraternity house, they both present their own challenges, and you have to be able to figure out how to communicate with those people, how to find common ground, how to respect the differences they have, different opinions, different beliefs, different goals, while being self-aware to not belittle those people, but make them feel a part of what you're doing and you be a part of what they're doing. And for me, I think, and that's what leadership is. Leadership is really about, it's a lonely place sometimes, but it's really about, having the self-awareness to understand that your opinion is not shared by everybody.
Yeah.
And your way of doing things is not shared by everybody. And that doesn't make your way right or wrong. It's just different. And so when you're leading a group of people, you have to be able to respect the differences. You have to be able to get consensus. And then ultimately, you have to make a decision, taking all those factors in to get people to follow you or to sign up for whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever goal it is. And so I think both of them served me well in the art of conversation, getting to know people, the questions you ask them, the questions they ask of you. And so I'm very fortunate that I went through that. And, whether it was when I was a sports agent with Jimmy Sexton, or running sports marketing at Under Armour, or now running the Grove Collective here at Ole Miss and working with our athletes, you think back and you rely on those experiences to be able to communicate to a very diverse group.
Yeah, that's a fantastic, well-rounded answer. It covers a lot of areas. And I guess moving on to a couple more questions revolving around your athletic career here at Ole Miss. What was your favorite game that you played here at Ole Miss? And then I'll get into a story in a minute that my father told me.
I'd say probably we beat in 1997. We went down to LSU. They were third in the country. They had just beaten Florida, who was number one. I think we were a 23, 24-point underdog. We went down there and played them in Death Valley in front of 90-something thousand people, and we beat them. And beat them bad. Beat them by like 2 or 3 scores. And they had Kevin Falk was their running back. They had a bunch of NFL players, and we were big underdogs. And anytime you win a road game, especially in Tiger Stadium in front of those people, you're always going to remember that. And so that was a great experience. Beating Georgia at Georgia again. 1996, they had Hines Ward and Champ Bailey and all these great players, and we went over there and beat them between the hedges. The SEC road wins are just different.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of really great experiences here, walking through the Grove. The Walk of Champions was started around that time, so I remember walking through the Walk of Champions, and those memories of playing here were always special. But going on the road and winning an SEC road game at some of these stadiums was just such a great experience. Winning both my Egg Bowls in Starkville was a lot of fun. One of them on a 2-point conversion at the end of the game.
Corey Peterson.
To go to, Corey Stewart Patridge and Corey Peterson, 15-14.
Was that when did the win game happen? Like
that was 83. I was in the stadium. That was in Jackson.
My dad was there too.
Yeah, that was in Memorial
Veterans.
Stadium. Yeah, 1983. I was in that. I was 8 years old watching that game with my dad. I remember like it was yesterday. And so winning the Egg Bowl and then winning both games I played in Starkville and carrying that trophy around on their home field was really special. Being a Mississippi kid, and playing against those guys. So that was always really special. We had a huge brawl before the game, big fight, which added to the craziness of it. So, so it was, I think we had a fight every year I played those guys. But,
Did Dad tell you what happened to him in Athens with the hedge?
Yeah. So, his dad was there when we won that Georgia game, and we were ripping the hedge out, and we were taking souvenirs of it. I don't think the security guards didn't appreciate that very well.
I love it.
But, my brother, his dad he was a front row seat for all those great wins, and
I love that.
SEC road wins are just so great.
You know, Susu threw away his hedge at her house.
Yeah. My mother thought it was just I don't know what she thought it was, but he was saving the branch from the hedges from that day in '96, and
We
my
talked.
mom recycled it or something. Put it out with the trash.
We talked about it yesterday. And he's like, D-Love brought it up. And
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
My dad, what he told me about beforehand when I told him that I was going to be with you today is he said he was at Georgia in '96, and he's like, ask him about him tackling Hines Ward for like a game-winning tackle or something that. Did that happen? Or?
It did. Actually, Ole Miss, we haven't won in Athens since that day, since 1996.
Oh,
so hopefully next week
I'll be there.
we can exercise the ghost. I'm sick of answering that question. I want to get that one out of the way. So, but yeah, we were over there playing, and we were winning 21-17 with about a minute and a half to go, and they're backed up on their own 2-yard line, and they throw a deep dig route to Hines Ward. We knew that's who they were going to get the ball to, but he makes a great catch across the middle, and our two safeties, Timmy Strickland and Ronnie Hurd, kind of run into each other, and they're there to make the tackle, but they kind of run each other, and Hines Ward bounces off of him, spins out of it, and there he goes. And I just remember hearing the crowd just erupt, 80-something thousand people, and I was just like, oh my God, we're going to lose, and so I just took off running.
Turn on the jets.
And, whatever jets I had. And, I took off running and, look up, and I'm about 3 or 4 yards from him. I somehow had called him 40 or 45 yards later on our 30, and I dive and clip his heels, but he doesn't fall down. He stumbles, and thank goodness Brock Kreitz, the other linebacker, was right behind me to push him out of bounds.
Oh, no.
So I was able to catch him and get to him first and trip him. And then Brock was able, thank goodness Brock was running just as hard, and Brock was able to push him out of bounds on our 20. He ran 80 yards.
Oh my!
And we caught him on our 20, and then we were able to hold him 4 plays in a row to win the ball game 21-17. So
Wow.
it was and it was funny. So I hadn't seen Hines Ward. 10 years later, he wins the Super Bowl MVP for the Steelers, and I'm at Under Armour, and we're all out at the ESPYs in LA. And he's there to get the ESPY for the Super Bowl MVP. And we're at the pre-party deal, and all the award winners are in there, and I'm in there, and I see him over there, and I hadn't seen him since that day. And so I walk over to him, and I introduce myself. Hey, Hines, Walker Jones, I played against you in college, man. You were a great player, and congratulations on everything. And he couldn't have been nicer. He was like, oh, who'd you play for? I said, I played for Ole Miss. He's like, oh, my gosh. Y'all, because we actually beat them 2 years in a row.
Wow.
He's like, man, you guys gave us fits, man. Y'all beat us a couple times. He was telling his wife about it. Yeah, these guys, Ole Miss, man, we couldn't beat those guys.
Was he there in '97 when it was here?
Yeah, he was there. They beat us 21-14. We beat them in '95 here.
Oh, '95.
We beat them in '95 here. And then '96, we beat them over there. And then they came back in '97, and we had a chance to beat them. They beat us 21-14 in a really good game. But we played them really close all those years. And he was telling a story, and he was like, well, what position did you play? And I said, well, I played linebacker. And he goes, and his face kind of went white. And he goes, what number were you? And I said, 29. He goes, gosh, man, you got to be kidding me, man. He's like, honey, this is the guy. I called so much grief because this guy and another linebacker ran me down from behind him, cost us the game. And he was like, man, I always wondered if I'd ever run into you. He goes, man, I can't I got ribbed so hard by our teammates. It was awful. And I was like, hey, man, I think you've turned out just fine. I think you've overcome that. You're a Super Bowl MVP. You're doing just fine. You're going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Like, I think you've gotten past that just fine. But yeah, it was funny to run into him, and he actually sent me an autographed picture like 2 or 3 weeks later in the mail. Hey, nice meeting you. And it was from that game, and I'm actually trying to tackle him on another play. And he goes, I think this is you. Great meeting you at the ESPYs, Heinz Ward. So super nice guy and great player.
It'd be funny if you would like Photoshop the picture of you missing and be like,
yeah.
alternate reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Was Kirby on those Georgia teams?
Yeah, that's right. Kirby Smart too. I didn't even think about it. Kirby was playing safety on those Georgia teams. Safety. So yeah.
Wow.
So Kirby and Will Muschamp both played together at Georgia against us. Mm-hmm. And so when we played those guys, they had Robert Edwards and Champ Bailey and Heinz Ward and the Stinchcomb brothers and all these great players. And Kirby and Will Muschamp both played as well. So so I played against guys. So every time I see Kirby, we have a pretty good laugh about it that we beat him. We got the better of him. So he's got the better of us, but 2 years ago over there, but we got him here. So we'll see if we can exercise the demons and take that monkey off our back, since that was the last time we won over there. So
that'll be a cool weekend next weekend.
Yeah.
Holder, I heard you got a little Airbnb there. You got a lot to find out.
Whoa, you're going?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
I was meaning to text you.
You don't ever seem to be. Yeah, when do I get the ticket request?
That's coming next week. Or I'm going to sit in the sky.
Yeah.
In section
With
6.
Holder, I usually get the ticket request or, hey, is so-and-so playing? Who's playing? Who's not playing? Is so-and-so hurt?
He needs the inside scoop.
Yeah, he's getting the inside scoop. I'm sure just to share with his buddies.
I'm not getting blown up about it at all. Either.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the only reason why you're asking. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Maybe he's posted on message boards or
Yeah,
some forums.
I don't know. Maybe he's placing a wager. I don't know. I don't know if he does that or not.
No.
Is Austin Simmons really hurt? How good is Trinidad?
Yeah.
So I get those from Holder pretty regularly.
I love it. So, Mr. Walker, let's pivot more towards your current role of Executive Director of the Grove Collective here. For listeners who may not be familiar, what is the Grove Collective and kind of how in 2022 or that time did you help launch this whole initiative and get that to where it is now?
Yeah, well, actually, it was started by a guy named William Liston, who's an attorney in Jackson, great Ole Miss rebel. He had read up on NIL, and after the Supreme Court ruling that allowed for name, image, and likeness, he had the foresight to start the Grove Collective, and he started at the end of 21. And I was not involved at the time, gets it up and running. That spring of 22, I get a call from Jimmy Sexton, who I'd worked for, who's Lane Kiffin's agent. And Jimmy says, hey, Lane's going to call you. He wants to talk to you about NIL at Ole Miss. And I'm, okay, I don't know what that means. But so he's like, yeah, I think he wants to talk to you about running the collective at Ole Miss. And I'm like, I don't know, what's the collective? I didn't even know what a collective was at the time. I kind of followed NIL a little bit. And so anyway, sure enough, I get a call from Lane. Lane does a great job of selling me on the importance of NIL and how it will matter at Ole Miss if we do it right, and how it can be a great differentiator for us. And I could tell Lane was committed to it. I could tell he had a great plan behind it. And then I had some subsequent conversations with Keith Carter, our athletic director. Keith and I were classmates here at Ole Miss when I was playing football.
He was playing basketball, right?
He was playing basketball.
Yeah.
We used to play pickup against each other in the summers. So Keith and I had known each other for 20-plus years. So had good conversations with Keith, and Keith again was committed to it and said, yeah, Walker, I agree with Lane. We got to figure this out. And I'm myself and the chancellor committed to it. And we've got this group called the Grove Collective that William Liston started. Can you take a look at it and see if there's anything that we could be doing differently with it? And so I took about a month and read up on NIL, research collectives, met with William Liston, talked to him about it. And I kind of came back with about a 5 or 6 page, PowerPoint. Hey, here's what I think we should do. And it was just some basic stuff. Don't have multiple collectives, combine it into one, create a membership model so there's recurring revenue, support all the sports at Ole Miss, and just kind of take advantage of the Mississippi state law, which at the time NIL was governed by state laws. And Mississippi had a very advantageous state statute, which allowed for coordination with the university. A lot of other states did not have that. So we were lucky in Mississippi that our legislators and our athletic directors and school presidents kind of crafted a state statute that would be really helpful. So we took advantage of that. So I kind of gave some, some of those ideas, and Keith and the coaches and the chancellor were behind it and said, let's do it. And William Liston was gracious enough to kind of let me take it over. Now, he stayed involved, obviously, because I wanted him involved. We needed legal counsel and we needed his expertise. He'd come up with a great logo. This logo is really cool. I love the Grove Collective name and the logo. I'm a big brand guy coming from Under Armour, so I knew the power of a logo and the power of building a brand. And that was the other thing is like, hey, we need to make the Grove Collective a brand that our fans can relate to and follow. And it can't just be a passion project. It's got to be a real entity, social media and a website and all that kind of stuff. And so, and apparel. And so we put the plan in place. And again, I give William a ton of credit for trusting me and kind of handing me the reins. And so I took it over in July of 22. And, we've grown. We've got a full-time staff, got a full-time office here. We've got 3 great people that work for us, do a phenomenal job. And we've got a great relationship with the athletic department. Keith and his staff, Ditson Haas with the foundation, Matt McLaughlin, those guys are incredibly supportive. And we, when other schools would call me and go, well, how are y'all doing this at Ole Miss? Like, how's little Ole Miss competing this well in the transfer portal and in NIL? And I was like, because we've got a school that believes in it and they help us and we're coordinated and we're really efficient and there's no territoriality, which is not the case in other schools. The other schools, the collectives weren't talking to the athletic department. The athletic department wouldn't talk to the collective. They were territorial with their donors. They didn't want to share information. And we went the other direction. We embraced it and we embraced the chaos, and chaos has kind of been our friend. Where chaos was kind of paralyzing to other schools and other collectives, we were like, heck yeah, man. No rules. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's figure out, let's use chaos as our friend. And we did that, and we took advantage of it and took advantage of the gray space, the white space that you call it, and maneuvered. And again, we were like this. We were talking all the time, and they helped give us a bunch of efficiencies that we couldn't have. We had to run a lean operation, and that's why we've been successful to this point.
Wow, that collaboration is awesome. What's
How
up,
do you
Alex?
think revenue-
Yeah, it's still, we're only 3 months into it. Yeah, it didn't get approved till July 1st with the House settlement. So we're still, just like everybody, kind of trying to figure out the system. It really won't change a lot to like our fans. They won't see a big difference because we still have to, manage the revenue share, manage the NIL, create the supplemental NIL opportunities. We were already spending, the rev share is basically $20.5 million. Well, we were already spending a lot more than that on our athletes. That's a hard cap. School cannot spend more than that. That's a hard cap. They can only spend that annually. But we were already spending that at the Grove. We were spending more than that at the Grove Collective on our athlete rosters. So we have to be able to make that difference up, that delta on top of that, with true NIL and get it through the regulatory system that exists now. And then also, too, making sure that our coaches use that 20.5 in a very effective manner, which is essentially roster management. It's the general manager function. And we work real close with our coaches and their staffs on the roster management. Hey, here's the NIL bucket. Here's the rev share bucket. Here's the total pool that we have to play with, and then go negotiate with the players, their agents, their families. It'll change in a good way. I think it'll add some regulation. It certainly helps us from a fundraising standpoint with them kicking in, that 20.5. And so in some respects, we'll lose a little bit of our competitive advantage because it's a little more formalized now, but it'll also enhance the ability for us to be creative with that supplemental third-party bucket of money that we're going to go generate. And, we were a first mover and kind of a leader 3 years ago when all this happened, and I think we have a chance to do that again now, given the collaboration and the coordination between all the different entities, and the fact that we're so connected. And like just this week alone, I've had 3 or 4 different meetings with Keith and his staff and our foundation and our coaches, and just talking through. And we don't know exactly to your question, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we know it's going to change. and we know we're going to have to be really coordinated to be able to stay ahead of it.
Yeah. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the Magnolia Sports Group, is that under your branch? Or is that like, kind of, how does your leadership work with that role?
Well, so we knew the House settlement was coming. So we knew it was coming at some point, and we kind of knew July of 2025 was probably going to be when it was going to be adopted. So we, probably about a year ago, we said, you know what, we probably should create another entity called, we didn't know Magnolia Sports Group at the time, but we said we probably should create another entity that would be a marketing agency for the collective.
So smart.
And so we came up with, we just were sitting around one day, we're like, what's a good acronym? Because like the Grove, yeah, like CAA or
MSG.
Yeah, MSG. And we were like, so the Grove Collective has kind of been known as TGC, the Grove Collective or GC. So what's another good acronym? We were like, I don't know, MSG?
Monosodium glutamate.
I was literally like looking at like synonyms of like sports brands, and it was like MSG, Madison Square Garden, and I was like, what about Magnolia Sports Group? It's Mississippi. It's got a little throwback to Mississippi.
Plays into the tree
Logo. I was like, I don't know. And we were all kind of sitting around like kicking around, like, yeah, MSG, Magnolia Sports Group. Let's do that. And so we trademarked it, and got the domains, and and then integrated it on our website and made it kind of a subsidiary of the Grove Collective, and so the Grove Collective is all the kind of the fan engagement, fan facing interaction with our athletes. Meet the Rebels, the pregame tailgates, the autograph signings, the memorabilia, the giveaways, the auctions. Those events where our fans can kind of get to know the players and get their autographs and get their pictures, and that's what we use the Grove Collective for. And then Magnolia Sports Group is kind of the marketing arm for our corporate partners. So Funkies and Proud Larry's and Nielsen's and whoever else, Obies and all the different companies, Realtree, C-Spire, and they're kind of that piece to help with the corporate entity, and it just kind of all works together. And so our athletes are actually ambassadors of both the collective and Magnolia Sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, we put it together about a year ago and kind of were building it for this day of rev sharing and a new regulation and corporate sponsorship.
Very smart planning. And you see the athletes in the Grove, dunking, before the game and stuff. So
You got to round up at Ovies.
Yeah, so you got and more and more of our businesses are doing that now here in town, and the mayor's been great about getting us more tied in with all the businesses here, and we do a tailgate right off the Walk of Champions before every game where we have a different group come. Like this week we've got the golf team, both men's and women's golf team coming this Saturday, tomorrow to sign autographs and take pictures, and Sassel will have his national championship trophy there. So we'll do that, and then we'll do events we're doing Square Jam on October 20th with the basketball team. So
I'm glad they brought that back.
Yeah, so we got Square Jam coming back. So yeah, so it's that's one thing we know is regardless of what happens, we know we got to raise money, and we know we got to compensate athletes, and we're going to need our individual fans to do it, but we're going to go businesses as well.
I'll say something about that. And students, there's a membership. I'm a member. It's crazy as it sounds. It's pretty
$10 a month.
It's pretty affordable.
$10 a month,
and you can get some of the shirts and all that, and it goes to the athletes.
Yeah, you get. Thank you, Holder, for that plug. Holder's one of our best interns, by the way. Do we even pay you?
No.
I don't think we pay. He's an unpaid intern, but he gets it back in free information and tickets
some
to away
shirts
and some free swag. But so for our students listening out there, you can join. It's called the Union. Is the membership name. It's on the website. It's $10 a month. You get access to all the events. Come meet the athletes. You get access to apparel. Again, it's a cool way to support our athletes.
Thanks for that plug-in, Holder. I'm gonna have to look into
good,
that.
Holder. Yeah, good job.
I mean, you're going off to the fans.
We can even do an IFC union.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm all for it. We want to do something with the Greek life where we're doing like a challenge.
Raise the most?
Well, we did. We talked about doing some sort of challenge maybe at some point during the year, just like the philanthropic outreach, like whatever fraternity signs up the most members or raises the most money at a time. Then we'll do like a party with the athletes, or do some sort of concert, or do bring that fraternity over to play a pickup game in the pavilion, or a flag football game in the vault. We'll turn the lights on and turn the jumbotron on, and
it's a good idea.
I'm all for it.
Shoot
me ideas. Yeah, I love that. What's been your proudest moment of working with the Grove Collective? Has there been like one meeting, or you've testified against the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee I've seen? Like, have you had a proud legal moment or a proud moment where you hit a certain milestone that you were
That
really
was
right
frightening.
on?
That wasn't a proud one. That was a terrifying moment. Testifying under oath in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Yeah.
That's a different. I thought it was going to be really cool, and now looking back, it was cool. But when I walked into that Senate chambers and saw all those 12 senators sitting up there, and I had to raise my right hand and take an oath.
Was Tuberville one of your senators in there?
And my former coach, Tommy Tuberville, who's now a senator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so
I did not know that.
how ironic is all that? The guy I used to pay for now is United States Senator that I'm testifying in front of now. So it was obviously an interesting experience. But that was a lifelong experience that I'll never forget. Man, it was a little terrifying at the time, but it was really neat to be able to do. Not many people get to be able to say that. So that was cool. Yeah. I think just seeing the difference that we're making with our athletes, like the athlete that comes in and says, hey, I bought my first car.
Yeah.
Or I bought a house. Or I paid my mom's mortgage off. Or I was able to buy my mom her first car. Just hearing those stories. Like our athletes, I was worried that they would be irresponsible with the money and it would create liabilities for them and they'd run debt up and be reckless with it. They really haven't been. They're really using the money that we would use it for. They're using it because they want to go, invest in a property here in town or buy an apartment or rent a 2-bedroom apartment instead of a 1-bedroom. So their parents have a bedroom to stay in when they come watch them play because the hotels are so scarce and so expensive.
Yeah.
Like smart stuff
so
like that.
So smart. Yeah.
Like I was wondering, like these athletes were like, yeah, I'm like, what are you spending your money on? They're like, well, I'm paying for a 2 or 3-bedroom apartment, but I'm living by myself. I'm like, why are you doing that? They're like, because we can't get a hotel room and my parents come to watch me play or want to come visit me. Oh. And so now I've got, an extra bedroom for them. I'm like, that's really smart, or, paying for travel for their, parents to come to watch them play. Mm-hmm. Things we take for granted. So I think you just listen to those stories. Like we were the first collective to do a travel deal with Delta Airlines as a national travel partner. And the reason why we did it, we wanted a recruiting advantage for our coaches, be able to offer that when they were recruiting kids because we recruit nationally. But we also wanted our athletes to be able to use it for their parents to be able to come watch them play. Yeah. And I know how important that was for me when my parents got to watch me play. And I take it for granted about how expensive it is, especially in sports like baseball and basketball where you're playing 30, 40 games. It's really expensive for a parent to drive 6 hours or get on a plane every time they want to watch their kid play. Mm-hmm. And I remember when our women's basketball team 2 years ago made the Sweet 16 and played out in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
And they did it 2 back-to-back weeks. And a bunch of the girls had the travel deal in their NIL deal with Delta. And because they had that deal, the parents were able to go 2 weeks in a row to watch their daughter play. Wow. And take pictures with them at the game. And hearing those athletes or seeing them shoot us a text saying, thank you so much. I would have never been able to do that. My family would have never been able to see me play in the Sweet 16 because of that. I think that's a proud moment, and that's something that we were able to do just by listening to our athletes and hear the pains of what they need the money for. So and that's what I tell our donors and our people that support us, our members, like these kids I say kids again, they're athletes and they're using them to solve basic socioeconomic challenges that we all would. Yeah. And they're putting it to good use and they're incredibly grateful and gracious for the money. And, and then when you see it translate to the basketball team make it to the Sweet 16 last year and baseball getting to a regional and football winning the Peach Bowl and having the 4th-ranked team in the country and all the success our Olympic sport teams are having, it's special when you're sitting there going, I had a small role in that moment that our fans are now enjoying.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it all plays back into the discipline of these athletes and what the Ole Miss athletic program has done with coaches and with all the instructions they're given to be good humans and to, make time. I think that plays into why they're doing so well with the new finance they've been given. So it's just a culture we build here, and it's something that I know Holder and I as fans are incredibly thankful for to be able to support. And now kind of to finish off our episode, we have a few more questions revolving around athletics and bridging that with fraternity life. So this is for you, Mr. Walker. How do you ever see collaboration between fraternity alumni or collective donors and partnerships. Like I know our former president last year of IFC, Beckett Abington, his dad Bill Abington is involved with a lot of that, and
That's right.
And then Nick Douglas, who's a beta, his grandfather Dean Douglas is really involved with a lot of his.
Wrote a book.
So, yeah, he wrote a book.
Yeah.
You see a lot of fraternity alumni kind of support.
Oh yeah,
this?
well, Dean's actually on the Grove Collective board. He's one of our board members.
Oh wow.
So I've gotten to know Nick well, and obviously Dean. Dean's a great supporter of ours and a board member, and then Bill Abington's great supporter as well, great person, and got to be close with him as well. And so there is crossover, tremendous crossover. And I think that's the other thing too. When we, Keith, myself, Denson House, and everybody else, Matt McLaughlin, that were involved in the early years of this, that was one of the things that I was concerned about as well. Is we can't cannibalize our donors, and we can't confuse them. A confused donor doesn't give, just like investing in a business. If you don't understand a business, you're probably not going to invest in it. Yeah. And so we've got to educate our people on what NIL is and what the money goes to, and then we can't cannibalize and confuse them. And we got to be really smart about our messaging. We have to be sensitive to the fact that they're getting asked to give in a lot of places. They're being asked to give to the business school or the alumni association or the medical school, and all the different philanthropic opportunities. And so we have to be cognizant of the fact that, when I'm calling that person, asking them to give to the Grove Collective so I can help rebuild the roster for Lane Kiffin, they're also probably getting 10 other phone calls from university entities asking for money as well. Yeah. That's maybe just as important as getting a quarterback out of the portal, getting Trinidad Chambliss, or somebody like that. So I think you have to be sensitive to that. And I think we have to know that these are all the same people, right? Graduates of the fraternity ecosystem here at Ole Miss are the same people that are sitting in that stadium and buying season tickets and vice versa. Yeah. And we all share those experiences, and there's tremendous crossover there. And I think as long as our people know that it's being impactful, just the way that the student life and the fraternity life and experience was for them personally, they can also make the same impact for our athletes that are here going through similar experiences.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I guess this is a question you kind of touched on earlier a little bit, but if you could create one joint event between our IFC, which has, almost 4,000 men, and the Grove Collective, would it look like a philanthropy event like that? Do you think that's the best virtue for it? Maybe a flag football game? Because I know in the past, Lane Kiffin for the spring bowl game, that we get to play in, the IFC guys got to be in the hot dog eating contest with Joey Chestnut.
That's right, yeah.
I think a philanthropy event could really go down well.
Well, I do too. I think if we would do some sort of challenge and the winning.
Biggest chapter, most signups.
Something like that. And we do, you get to play a flag football game against a fraternity of your choice, and we're going to turn the lights on. We're going to turn the Jumbotron on. We're going to have all the game ops going, the music playing, and Lane and the staff coaches the two teams, and maybe have some of the athletes. You get to pick one athlete, to play with your team or whatever, and
that'd be cool.
The winning team, gets to, do something cool, with. We use a fire extinguisher on it, or travel to an away game with the team. You do something. There's all sorts.
Like athletes work one of your events or something.
Yeah.
Sign up for the $10 subscription. Whatever fraternity does that the most, we can do something like that. So
that's the cool thing about the collaboration is we can do all that stuff, and the school's willing to do it. And we thought about doing that where it was, a pickup basketball game in the pavilion.
You need to get William Evans on that.
Yeah, exactly. William, who does our development, and William was a fraternity. The guy that runs my corporate development, and he's kind of our head fundraiser,
ATO
was the president of the ATOs here. Wow. That's how I found him. He was interning, working for the Athletic Foundation. Was also a fraternity president here on campus, so I knew he probably was well connected and probably pretty good at development. And so William's been working with us for 2 years now. He's a product of the fraternity experience here at Ole Miss. So, I think and I'm like, dude, you got to figure this out for me. I'm like, William, you were a fraternity president here. Let's get in front of these people and let's create some challenge. Yeah. And then whoever wins gets a really cool experience. Yeah. So, so we should take that offline and try to figure that out.
I love that. And Mr. Jones, I know we just met briefly about an hour ago, but I feel like a large reason, just from what I'm seeing of why a big part of why you're so successful is because you can just kind of spitball these ideas, and you have a lot of stuff bouncing back and forth. So just the fact you're able to name out 10 different ideas right there is it's inspiring to see, and I can.
Well, that's what we do all the time. Yeah. We're trying to come up with different ideas, that will get our fans excited and, help us raise money, but also activate our athletes. And, the more we can get the athletes ingrained with the community and the student life, the better it is for everybody.
I love it. I love it. And I guess for the final question for both of you guys, where do you see the Ole Miss Grove Collective and NIL as a whole being 10 years? And where do you see, ideally, if you had to write out a strategic plan for the future, where do you see this Ole Miss athletics program with all this stuff going on?
Well, I think it's, to your question previously, it's, revenue shares changing the landscape for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a positive way long term. I think ultimately we'll see some form of employment with the athletes. You'll see some collective bargaining. How that's going to happen, not 100% sure, but I just think that's where we're headed. But I do think that we'll be able to preserve the student athlete experience. And I think that's what fans care the most about is, they want to be able to turn the TV on Saturday and still see the same pageantry and tradition that makes college athletics so great, or, Thursday, Tuesday night or Thursday night in a basketball game, the NCAA tournament, the SEC tournament, the SEC baseball tournament, all these different cool events. We want to protect the uniqueness of those things, and I think that'll happen. So, what our role looks like. Again, if I don't have a roadmap to tell you exactly what it looks like, although I know it's going to change and it's going to twist. If we know anything about NIL the last 3 years, is it's a moving target, and we better be constantly moving and constantly evaluating and adjusting and adapting to what we're doing. And it's the old Moneyball quote from Brad Pitt, adapt or die. If we sit here and don't do anything, yeah, exactly. All you're doing is just talking. It's just, it's a great movie. I watch that movie all the time. Like I know exactly how he feels to some degree, and I'm like trying to take little tidbits of that. But it's like that. You have to kind of rethink the model all the time. And we're lucky enough we got a school here that's willing to kind of ask for forgiveness and permission and be first movers. And that's what's made us successful. So we'll have to adjust, we'll have to adopt, and how we look, how the Grove Collective looks 5-10 years from now, I'm not sure. I just know that, we've created a brand. Tomorrow when you're walking through the Grove or head of the stadium, you see Grove Collective hats and shirts and polos, and
absolutely,
you didn't see that 2 years ago, and now I say so. I'm really proud that we've built a brand that our fans trust and believe in. I think as long as we do that, where we sit, how we look, will take care of itself.
You have any extra points on that to finish off?
Honestly, just being competitive in athletes, and it starts with them. It starts with people donating, and just as long as we're competitive, the money will fly in, and just people willing to donate and making athletes better for a whole.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, well, the cool thing is, too, like you guys get to experience it a lot. And, when I was here, I didn't get to experience as much as I'd like to. But, like, the everyday interaction with student life here at Ole Miss is so valuable. And, through the compensation that we're paying these guys, they actually get to leave Ole Miss with life skills that I never got. How to pay taxes, how to budget your money, how to be an influencer, how to be a brand ambassador. All these things that we asked them to do because of the money, they're learning life skills that I didn't know how to do any of that when I was 19, 20, 21 years old playing here.
Yeah.
So we're actually turning out a more educated, more developed contributor to society because of NIL.
Yeah.
And, and athletes that can interact with people like yourself that are, playing a valuable role on campus that they otherwise would not, be able to do. So, your dad's calling. Yeah,
he wants to get on the podcast.
He wants to get on the podcast. I think he wants to know if there's a Q&A session.
Yeah.
Q&A.
Yeah, but I just know this: when Holder tells you he's got a lock on a Friday night football game, just be real careful.
Just fade it.
You're the opposite.
I've heard that one too many times. So
We had fun down in the Gator Bowl, though.
So no, Holder's the best.
You ever been to the Shelby County Fair?
No, that's where it's with. He's with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been there.
We have a cabin. Yeah, we have a cabin there.
That's your cabin?
Yeah, we have a
Yeah,
cabin
so-
there. Yeah.
His dad's made me some good beer chicken there in the past. and I
Yeah,
still
so
go
in
there.
cabin 239, we're right there on the racetrack. That's my brother Adam, my sister Shelly, and our cousin Beth. We own the fair cabin there. So
Nice.
yeah, we're.
It was one year when you left town early and he came down for a Friday night. And
y'all see
I
a
had to
puppet
leave.
show?
I had to leave. I had to leave early.
Lena was playing the little puppet.
The puppet show. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you got to see that. That's interesting. Yeah, the Neshoba County Fair. That's like the family retreat that we don't miss every year. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank both you guys for taking your time out today. I know you're both very busy men to join our podcast. The guys with IFC are going to be absolutely ecstatic for this, and thank you for showing up. It's been a fantastic time.
Howdy toddy. Appreciate all the work you
Thank
guys
you
do.
all.
Thank you very much.
Howdy toddy. Thank you.